Why do you think meth use has increased so much, doubling in just a year?
The reality is that New Zealand has higher prices for meth as it's collapsed all around the world, and now for the first time we're seeing very heavy introduction of meth into this part of the world from North American drug cartels, very, very sophisticated, very organised crime, and that's just lifted the supply available because it's more attractive for them to send product here given our prices are higher than other places.
So the bad guys are winning.
Well, it's just a good reminder for us to step up our level of sophistication.
It is funny when they have a really negative headline around a crime, all of a sudden it's reasonable conversations. It's, we just got to address it. Whereas if it was ram raids under the last lot, soft on crime, they don't know what they're doing, enemy of business, that might be my word, not theirs. Yet meth use has increased in New Zealand. I think it might have been last year or maybe the start of this year, Chewie, there was a news report that said like nowhere else in the world, like New Zealand had a world record increase in meth use. And now up to and including, they're saying, doubling since last year. So I don't want to go, which would you prefer? A city full of meth users or a city with a bunch of ram raiders? He's using his inside voice, Chewie, and he's sounding quite reasonable about a meth use explosion when he wasn't sounding reasonable and was using his very much big boy outside voice about ram raids. And it's concerning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Like teenagers stealing cars and driving into an old Leamings. These guys made that sound like a national epidemic, and was enough to try and topple the government over.
Yeah.
But we can be very much chill and understanding about why meth use has exploded like never before. And I'm sure we can hand wave this away by going, who amongst us doesn't enjoy a nice, relaxing puff of meth after a hard day down mill?
The odd pipe here or there.
It's the economy bouncing back. They're going for growth, etc., etc.
Well, have a think about this as well. The ram raid situation. Now, let's imagine they were being genuine, which I don't believe they were. I believe they were being disingenuous and they were using ram raids as an excuse. But let's say they were being genuine. Ram raids was pushed by Sonny Cashel and that department that group that gave them money, and it impacted business and businesses, which this government seems to care more about than individuals and human beings, because the individuals and human beings are being more impacted by meth. Someone on meth, there was a story, I don't know what I watched, was it One News, about a guy who's taken 10 years to get off meth and he's just coming up the end of it and he's lost his family, lost his kids, lost his job, lost everything because of it. That story there, which is 10 years of a personal story from a person who's gone through it all, versus cigarettes being taken out of a store that's insured. Oh, that's another point, Chewie. The insurance companies won't like the ram raids, but then who really cares about some young man somewhere in rural New Zealand smoking some meth? It just impacts them. So there's all sorts of things that you could go down if you wanted to. All right, we'll get to the end of this. It's only about 45 seconds.
And pushback as well, and certainly it's a big issue and right across the Pacific, whether in New Zealand, Australia, but certainly Fiji, Tonga, Samoa as well. And that's the reality, is that we need to expand our borders and work together better with our partners with more sophisticated intelligence and customs and NZDF resource as well.
What about cutting demand? What is this hard-hitting campaign going to say that people don't already know?
Exactly.
Yeah, look, I just think it's about us making it, bringing consciousness to the issue, a bit like we have with drunk.
So why wasn't there consciousness and an advertising campaign around ram raids? Like it's a different approach. Now, I guess what they're going to say is because we need to educate people what meth will do to them, sure. But it's the inside voice. It's the reasonable voice coming out now. And a part of that is because he doesn't want to bring attention to things that make his government look bad. The outside voice, the big boy voice around ram raids, because he wanted to look the Labour government look bad, so he made lots of noise about it. This is more question. Now listen, we're going to be quiet about this. We're not going to tell too many people. And we're going to make sure we handle it in a nice, calm way. Ram raids. Oh my God. Ram cigarettes being stolen. Oh my, you can tell, you can see through it.
Drunk driving and other campaigns over the years. I think every family has had a family member or a friend impacted by the ravaging of effects of meth, and we just want to be able to talk about meth-related harm, but we also want to make sure that we're supporting and adding extra money into our addiction services as well.
Well, there comes back to that conversation around Lifeline, adding more money into these areas whilst they've been taking money out of other areas. But I just wanted to pick up on one thing, Chewie. I didn't stop because there's only 10 seconds to go. But this whole thing about, everyone in New Zealand has a family member or a friend that's been impacted by meth. And I'm like, really? Is it? So that's like far more serious than, say, alcoholism, or because I don't think every family in New Zealand has been touched by other. So what I actually think he's saying in that it's more serious, and it's worse than maybe what even the news report was saying. So everyone knows someone who's had the ravages of meth impact on them. I don't think that's true. I think he's way over exaggerating, but he's making the own situation worse. I mean, unless what he's saying is if you knew all the truth, everyone would know someone. Like, I can't think of anyone in my circle who's suffered at the ravages as the hands of meth, unless of course it's a secret from me. But I'm like, if it's that serious, this should be the number one issue for you, Mr. Prime Minister, if every single New Zealander knows someone who's been impacted by meth.
I love when they dip into this hyperbole about the evils of drug use, right? Because, yeah, I can't think of anyone in my circle that's really been affected by meth. I can think of several that have been affected by alcohol.
Yep.
And if we were to look at, say, alcohol-related harm, alcohol-related road crashes, alcohol-related issues with health, do we really want to be drawing those comparisons? But yeah, if they're talking about meth and they're talking about the explosion of meth use, can they look at how much they defunded border security and customs straight out of the gates?
He's saying
they made that choice.
He's saying we need to put more money into places that deal with addiction whilst they're taking money away from places that deal with addiction. It's this classic example of this government. We want to focus on getting the smoking rate down whilst cancelling Smoke Free 2025. We want to support Today and we want to build it up in the community while pulling all sorts of legislative changes to diminish Today in the background. It's just like if you're not... You're saying, an older gentleman that I knew back several years ago used to say, when words and actions disagree, believe the actions. The actions that your government has partaken in so far do not say, we want to give more money to mental health and addiction issues. That's what the actions say. So I don't believe your words.